Hello dear students. In today's class we are going to talk about political philosophy. Dear students, have you ever wondered why countries have different governments? Why do some people support democracy while others believe in socialism? They also believe in constitutional monarchy, right? These are the differences between people, but the answer of it lies in political philosophy. Political philosophy, the study of ideas about government, power, justice, rights, and ideal society. In this video, we are going to learn about what is political philosophy is, its major branches, and how it influences our everyday lives. So first of all, political philosophy is the branch of philosophy all we know. But what are the core questions it asks? It says what ought to be rather than what is. It will not examine what is. It will always say what ought to be. क्या होना चाहिए? It will say you people. क्या है इसको कोई मतलब नहीं. क्या होना चाहिए? Perfection. Second question will ask who should rule? कौन रूल करेगा? कौन कर रहा है नहीं, किसे करना चाहिए. Why obey law? लॉ को क्यों हम ओबे करें? What is the importance of law? Like this question. And other questions like what is the purpose of government? What makes a government legitimate? What rights do citizens have? What is justice? How should power be distributed? It talks about normatively. So political philosophy helps us to understand how societies should be organized and how people and government should interact. So political philosophy only talks about the normative thing. It talks about what ought to be, क्या होना चाहिए, गुरुत्वारोप किस पे हो रहा है, क्या होना चाहिए, rather than क्या है, what is good, what is ideal, it talks about. Dear student, by focusing on the ideas of political philosophy, we can divide the political philosophy into following branches like justice, liberty, equality, rights, authority, and power. On these sections, the political philosophy will ask a question about the following topics like justice, who will get justice, like liberty, who will enjoy the liberty, what liberty should be given to individual, equality, what equality is good, how equality should be given, should the question is, right, how extent the individual should enjoy the right, what are the rights, and authority, it will say that why citizen obey the law, and what is the acceptable form of the government, and the power is who should enjoy the power and who should be the ruler. This question is asked by the political philosophy. Political philosophy, like, it is normative and prescriptive in nature. That means it doesn't describe how government run. It judges whether they are doing a good job. It asks for what is a fair society, what does a good leader look like. That means it focuses on should rather than is. Therefore, it is normative and prescriptive in nature. Second one is the ethics and moral theory. That means it is built on right versus wrong debate. You can't decide if a government is good without knowing what good means. So political philosophy uses moral rules to decide what makes a law moral or immoral. Law moral or immoral किस ground में है, it will talk about. So it talks on ethics and moral ground. So it can be viewed as an applied ethics too, and on a collective scale, it links the individual morality to an institutional arrangement. That's the key feature of the political philosophy. It argues that a system cannot be valid without an underlying ethical justification. So this is the political philosophy talks about. Human nature. It is grounded on the human nature. That means the most of the political theory begin with an assumption about the human nature, whether it is Hobbes or Aristotle or Rousseau. There is an assumption of on the human nature and also the ideal states. So we can't say that the political philosophy revolves around the human nature. It starts with how the people act. Every thinker, idea of good or idea of good state, it's based on the human being, and it's always say the human nature is the born of the ideas. Next one is it defines big ideas. That means it talks about the big things like the conceptual rigor it has. Everyday word means different things to different people, and political philosophy works to clearly define the key concepts. Like it defines the justice in a key note. It will say that getting what you deserve fairly is justice. Liberty, it will say having the freedom to make your own choices is liberty. Likewise, we have sectionized before the different branches of the political philosophy, and here we know that the one branch is equality. So political philosophy will say that giving everyone equal respect, chances or resources is your equality. So these features are of political philosophy talks about what is political philosophy is, how it is different from the political theory, what is its basic assumptions. So dear student, to sum up the political philosophy, we can categorize the questions like that. What is the primary method of the political philosophy? So the primary method of the political philosophy is philosophical, reasoning, conceptual analysis and normative theory. But in political science, the primary method will be the empirical observation, data analysis, also the behavioral studies. But in political philosophy, it is philosophical and conceptual analysis and normative. The core question the political philosophy says, what is just state? A normative question. But the political science will say that how do political institutions function? A descriptive question. So basically the difference is normative and descriptive. And the third one is the primary goal. What is the primary goal of the political philosophy? Is to evaluate and prescribe the ideal norms. But the primary goal of political science is to explain and predict political behavior. Last one is the key output. The key output of political philosophy are theories like the justice, rights, political obligation, these theories. But the key output of political science, we can say that models, statistical correlations, policy evaluation, a more empirical orientation. So under these four questions, we have discussed about what is the difference between the political philosophy and the political science. So if I will say what is political philosophy in a one word, I will say that in a one line we can say that political philosophy is the normative branch of political thought that examines the foundational principles, values, structures which governs the human societies rather than merely describing how political systems do operate. Political philosophy evaluates how they should operate. Understand? It not merely describes how political systems do operate. It says how should they operate. It's not talk about the current situation. It talks about the what should be done. So this is about the political philosophy, all the things we understood about the thing. But one question arises. I have in the start of the video I have told you people that what is the relevancy of the political philosophy, why it matters. Political philosophy affects our daily life. It shapes the laws, the human actions, rights, the elections, the public opinion. Everywhere we need political philosophy. We can't say we don't need it. We need it. We need to debate. We need to establish justice and equality. We need the political philosophy. It's more than an academic subject. It helps us to understand the society, the government, the responsibility of the citizen. And by studying political philosophy, we can become a better thinker, an informed voter, and an active member of the society. Thank you, dear students, for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more educational content and for more basic videos on political science. Thank you.